morning to the members of the media, to party members, supporters, and to all of Bermuda. We're holding our final press conference today on the most important issue facing our voters, and that is education. The young people are key to Bermuda's future enduring success. That is why education is the key to changing many of the issues that we face in Bermuda, whether it be economic or social. This is, of course, how we provide a platform to give Bermudians the tools to succeed as we provide opportunities in a Bermuda that will put Bermudians first. But our students have been forgotten under the One Bermuda Alliance, and therefore our future has been forgotten. The One Bermuda Alliance has been busy pouring money into events such as the America's Cup, expending untold energy trying to exact policies like pathways to status against the wishes of Bermudians and in contravention of their platform promises. They've been too busy on those issues to give the attention to public education that public education deserves. Instead of sticking with their promises from 2012, they spent years pushing through an airport privatization, which sends much needed revenue to Canada, instead of that money being able to be used here to support our students. With the Minister of Education changing 4 times in no less than 5 years, there has been no consistency and a low accountability to ensure that our children are educated and prepared to be productive members of society. It is a baffling exercise to imagine what the One Bermuda Alliance have been thinking when they have been willfully ignoring the needs of our children and our teachers. Bermuda's children matters. Bermuda's future matters. The One Bermuda Alliance neglect of our children, from cutting education funding, gutting scholarships, neglecting school maintenance issues, has been nothing short of deplorable. In Premier Dunkley's Bermuda, it has been more important that his own cabinet office is refurbished than protecting our children from the effects of toxic mold. The disrespect that he showed to teachers who dared to stand up for their students and their own health is astonishing. But the Progressive Labor Party knows that it doesn't have to be this way. The PLP knows and understands that there is a better way, and education has to be our #1 priority. To that effect, I'm pleased to hand over to the PLP spokesperson for education, Diallo Rebane, who will speak on the PLP's immediate education objectives.
Thank you. Thank you, and good day to all gathered here and the people of Bermuda. First and foremost, we must have safe and healthy students and teachers. To that end, the PLP will, in its first 100 days of the administration, conduct a review of all school facilities to identify and correct any health and safety issues. This review will also pinpoint prevention measures to ensure that our children and educators do not suffer going forward. We cannot allow the interruption of class and young children to be bused across the island as this has happened this school year. As a father of a school-aged daughter, I am all too aware of the importance of a structured learning environment. Our first 100-day plan includes the installation of Wi-Fi in all public schools. In the year 2017, it is unacceptable that we have schools that only have 2 working computers for the entire student body. The PLP knows that all schools must have functioning computer labs and will ensure the provision of these so that our students will have access to the latest technology. Let's give our students a chance to succeed in the modern world, providing the tools and opportunities to empower students, who will in turn make Bermuda better, should it not be reserved for those who can afford it. Quality education should be promised to all. The division between the 2 Bermudas widened with the funding cuts to education implemented by the OBA. The cuts to scholarships ensured that Bermudians with the ability and motivation to pursue a higher education had barriers in receiving that education. The PLP will increase funding for scholarships so that our promising students have an opportunity to fulfill their potential. And our implementation of a low-interest student rate program will further improve access to higher education while reducing costs to students to prevent undue financial burdens upon graduation. The Bermuda College can provide the tools Bermudians need to improve their job prospects. But without being able to afford access to the college, our people lose out on opportunities. The provision of financial support to students in need is one that the PLP will implement immediately to ensure no Bermudian is left behind. Opportunities for recent high school graduates are important as well, but the PLP knows that working parents who wish to upgrade their skills via continuing education must have a chance to do so. Currently, many parents are working 2 or more low-paying jobs to support their families. We must do better by them, and so the PLP will provide child care services for parents so that finances and family are not a barrier to their educational advancement. There is much work to be done, and we intend to hit the ground running. For those initiatives laid out, I'll now pass on to MP Levita Fogo to discuss how the PLP plans to expand upon what I have spoken about today.
Good morning. Without a concrete plan, Bermudian students are set to languish further in a system that does not enjoy full public support and confidence. I am pleased to sit here before you this morning to set out the midterm phase of the PLP's education objectives. Concrete plans are necessary for success, but without action, any plan is doomed to fail. That is why the PLP government will not only review and implement the recommendations from the Department of Education's strategic review, but we will do so through creating realistic and achievable yearly milestones. Real-time data to measure performance is an absolute necessity in order to move in step with changing needs of the system. As my colleague MP Rabane explained, it is imperative that we prepare our children for opportunities in today's world, a world of technology and diversifying fields of employment. It is therefore a PLP priority that primary school students are given exposure to STEM, that is, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics at an early age. Children's learning capacity is often underestimated, and if we prepare them early, their chances to excel are greatly increased. When children have at-home support, their educational advancement is markedly improved. However, not all parents have the resources to provide such support for their children. So the PLP will provide parents with the support necessary to assist in their children's schooling, including the provision of online resources which facilitate homework help. We know parents want the best for their children. By working together, we can provide what their children need. A matter that needs focused and extended attention is the provision of psychological and social support for our students. The identification of learning or behavioral issues at the earliest opportunity helps not only the individual student, but addresses many of the social ills that plague our community. When children are neglected, we later see a raft of issues in them personally and in the wider community. When children are supported, there is no limit to what they can achieve. In fact, there used to be a commercial that ran in the 80s and 90s that said, "Show me a child who can learn, I'll show you a parent who cares." And we're going to take that one step further, and alongside the parents, we are going to ensure that the PLP will support all children to reach their full potential. And so with that said, I am now pleased to hand back to the party leader to explain what the long-term educational plan is under the PLP.
Thank you very much, MP Fogo, and thank you very much, MP Remain. I will close, as MP Fogo said, with our long-term education objectives. And as we look how to make needed corrections to our public education, it is important for us to recognize that the problems we are facing will require a plan that includes long-term objectives. While the Progressive Labor Party will focus on making sure that we take immediate action on several fronts, we will also be working to implement needed changes that will take additional time but will help to improve the quality of our public education system. The Progressive Labor Party will reform public education by phasing out middle schools and introducing signature schools at the secondary level. These signature schools will focus on the learning styles and interests of our children and will include academic, technical and the trades, business and hospitality, sports, arts, and special needs education. These schools will provide our students with the choices they need to make sure that they are on a path that matches their own ambitions. Under the new PLP government, we will remove the geographic restrictions to encourage students from different parts of the island to attend the best school that is suited to their talents, regardless of their registered living address. Where you live should not restrict the child from receiving the education that is best suited for them. It is imperative that we ensure that our special education program is providing the needs to our children that are in need. To that end, we will review the feasibility of learning environments and educational programs to meet the needs of children in special education in a more cost-effective way. The PLP recognizes that throwing money at the program is not the solution, but we must be creative and look at different ways to make sure that children who learn differently are able to learn and succeed in our public education system. Bermuda has fallen behind many countries in recognizing the importance of early childhood education, and therefore the PLP will establish standards of early education achievement so that our children can have early access to skills upon entering primary school. The PLP understands that educational standards in early childhood programs allow for a student to meet greater success later on in the educational environment. What the Progressive Labor Party has done is that we have laid out an in-depth plan that will serve as a blueprint to get our public education system back on track to meet our children's needs. It will restore confidence to our system. It will ensure that there is accountability inside of our system, and everything that the PLP has said and will do after tomorrow will be to the goal of ensuring that we are putting Bermudian children first.